Okay, so far we've set static properties and we've set handled events. But what if we want to have a dynamic property, a property that is bound to an expression? For example, let's say that we don't like Mondays and we want every row that its order date is Monday to be red and every other row to be green. So let's take a look and see how to do that. In our controller, we'll go to order date and we look at the property sheet. And we can see in our property sheet that there is a four color property, but we want it to be dynamic. So to make it dynamic, we're going to bind this property to an event, to an expression. So we'll go to the event tab and we can see here all of these events that are called bind. And calling them bind actually means that we can bind them to an expression. So for example, we'll go to bind for color and we'll say here, I don't like Mondays. When I press enter, Visual Studio will generate this method for me, saying, if you don't like Mondays, what do you want to do? And this method receives two parameters. One is the sender, which is the control for which it was evaluated. Useless, don't use it. And the second is control binding event args, called E, color binding event args, called E. And if I look at E, we can see that it has a value property of type color. So all we need to do is to set it according to the rules that we want, okay, to get the color that we want. So let's do that. I'll say here, well, if in our controller, in the orders table, the order date field, the day of week, is, and since day of week is an enum, Visual Studio automatically let me select from this enum, and I can just press dot and choose Monday. So if it's Monday, then the color should be red. Else, the color should be green. Let's build this and run this. Perfect. So we got a color according to the day of the week. And if we'll change the value from 26 to 27, we'll see that it turns green and back to red. Now let's apply the same expression to all of the controls on our row. Not a problem. All we need to do is go to our designer, select all of the controls using the control key. I'm clicking on the control key and choose bind for color. And now all of the controls don't like Monday. Perfect. Now, one of the things that bothers me as a perfectionist is that the current row doesn't indicate it, because the current row style right now shows a back color and a back color which is blue and a fore color which is white. So let's change it as well. There's also a property just like anything else, and this is a property of the grid. So I'm going to go to properties, and this specific property is called active row style, which I can change to be border. Instead of row and color and controls, I want it to be border. Let's run this. And well, I welcome you to experiment with the different properties to see what they do, what kind of behaviors they add, and of course you can find documentation about them on our website.